Hi, I'm Adam Meyer of Mill City Lutherie in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and got kind of a short project here. I'm going to be taking this Telecaster and adding an arm contour. Now, if you take a look at this, it's not actually a 70s Telecaster. It's a 70s neck with an aftermarket body. This body is relatively new, just heavily relic'd. So don't worry, I wouldn't do this to an actual guitar that's 50 years old. So got the okay to do this, and what we are trying to recreate is just like what Jeff Beck had on a Telecaster of his. So I'm going to show you how I measure this out, and then since it's a nice sunny day out, I'm going to take this out back, spare myself all the cleanup time, and go to town on this one. So we need to plan this out first, and if we're going to go in close on the Jeff Beck, see if I can bring up the picture online. Notice that right along where it lines up with the pick guard is about where the curve starts, and then it follows through down to about where the strap peg is. So with the Sharpie, I'm going to draw within those curves. The Sharpie can bleed into the lacquer, so you don't want to actually do the line in Sharpie where you are going to go to, because the black can bleed into the finish. So we're going to come short of that, and then by the time I'm done contouring and sanding and everything, I'll be past any potential bleed through with the Sharpie. Alright, so we're coming out close to the strap peg and not quite to where the pick guard ends. We want a little bit of an arc. It's maybe about halfway between the corner and there. Let's see, it's probably about there. There, that looks good. And then down here, we want to go to about 40%. So I'll follow through with making lines there and along there. So it's pretty simple. I'm just going to take this rasp I use for carving out necks that I build. I'm just going to use the coarse to get it started, switch to fine to smooth it out, and I'll finish it off with my orbital palm sander. Armrest is all carved out now. I went through, sanded it to 320, and then wet it, sanded again. It is ready to apply a finish. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to add a, I'm not sure what it would be called, like a steel wool stain. I've taken some vinegar and soaked steel wool into it, and this will create an aged look to wood. I have not done this very strong. You can look online, find there's all sorts of recipes. Let it sit for a really long time. It'll get really dark. But the goal here, the customer has this relic guitar. these open spots are not very dark. They're definitely darker than the fresh wood here, so I'm going to be doing a very light stain on this. So I've only been doing this, the steel wool soak, for maybe about 24 hours, so it's on the light side. I have scrap piece of ash. I'll be testing on this, letting it dry and compare, and then once it's ready, I'll apply it to the guitar. So many people will strain this out and try and get various hues of everything. I don't do this very often at all. I'm likely just going to throw this out, and the next time I need to do this, just make a new batch. So simply just going to take a little brush here and see what we have on this piece of ash. Now we'll let that dry and compare it to the guitar. So this has been allowed to dry, and you can see this is the raw ash, this is the stained ash, and I don't know if I can get this to show up very well, but compared to the relic part of this body, that looks so much better. Even has a little bit of a green hue to it. There are varying degrees of this, but this guitar, where it's worn in, the customer doesn't want me to do anything more intense than that. And I feel that doing it the light route here matches almost perfectly. So now I'm just going to wipe on a few coats of some clear satin poly. Just a little something to protect the wood. The customer wants me to have something on there. He doesn't want anything to crack over time. So we just wipe it in. There you have it. I don't know if there's a name for it other than just calling it the Jeff Beck Telecaster Mod. It's a pretty simple thing to do. I'm just kind of showing you how I went about it. This customer, like I mentioned before, didn't want me to go past the other relicing on here. Just try and get it to look the same so it's uniform. So you know, you can make this super dark, but then it's going to stand out compared to the rest of everything else. The idea is just kind of make it look like it's been rubbed away and it's been like this for years, but you're picking it up today. It's brand new. So I'll show you some other methods. Had I just left that stain on without doing anything else to it, or you can just also let the steel wool sit for a few days in the vinegar and you'll get a much darker stain. And over here, another method, if it was still clean ash and I use true oil, that ends up being kind of a gold color. Now, some people may argue one way or the other, just leave it raw. No, you got to put something on to protect it. You know, it is a solid body guitar, but you never know what's going to happen. You could end up having this in like a really cold or dry environment and end up with a crack. You just put something on it. In this case, I use just a clear wipe-on satin. It only takes 2 to 3 coats. A day later, the customer's able to pick this up for me. And once again, you know, there's true oil, but that'll give it kind of a golden color. There are other things like vinyl sealer, other types of things, but they too need more time and they will have colored this in the wrong direction. So if you have any questions about this or any other projects in my video collection, you can always just leave a comment or contact me directly. My contact information is in the About section of my channel, and we'll see you next time. Ash look. This is true oil. Gives it a little bit of a golden